What an extraordinary week. It started with the news poll saying that you were crushing it, and it's ended with a coalition in tatters. How does it feel to be Pauline Hanson?
People cannot lose their opinions, and I think, I picked that with these laws that they're putting out there and concerns me, overreach by government. People's freedom of speech is more important to them.
What self-respecting politician votes for that? They're clearly not voting according to their conscience. So I don't think there should be hate speech laws at all. I think there should be laws that prevent speech that incites violence. We already have those laws.
Correct. We already have it. They could have done something about it, and they haven't.
For the first time, I really thought, well, these could be the laws that get me in jail.
Sorry, you can't back down. The same as me. I can't back down from what I believe in just because some laws have been in place. Don't sit back and whinge about it when it may come knocking on your door one day and you're affected by it.
Tell me about wearing the burqa.
So I thought, well, if you don't want to ban the burqa, I'll wear the burqa. Why do we become politicians is to be a voice for the people. If you can't be upfront and honest with yourself, what you truly believe in, and you've got to pass legislation you know in your heart it's not the best for the country or people, then you have to stick with your conviction and don't vote for it.
So we're here with the lady of the hour, Pauline Hanson, and we're going to ask her the questions that nobody else asks her. We're going to get to the bottom of who she is and her vision for the country. You're not going to want to miss it. That's today on The Dr. Jo Show. So, Pauline, it's been a massive week for you. What an extraordinary week. It started with the news poll saying that you were crushing it, and it's ended with a coalition in tatters because they supported Labor's hate speech laws, the Liberals did. How does it feel to be Pauline Hanson?
No different to how I have been previously. I think in many ways I feel vindicated, especially the poll that's come out. People are saying, well, she warned us about this. She's been telling us this. She's a person of conviction. She sticks with what she says. I don't, flip-flop all over the place. I think even with the hate laws, I think I really, tuned into it about people's freedom of speech is more important to them. People cannot lose their opinions, and I think, I picked that with these laws that they're putting out there and concerns me, overreach by government. I said it was a dog's breakfast of a bill. So it's been, a very interesting week.
Do you go to bed at night feeling excited that you might finally have an opportunity to lead our country? Is that the ambition?
No, that's not it. They asked me about the ambitions of One Nation. They said, do you want to be government? Of course I do. Why else am I here? Why did I start up a political party? I believe that we've got the policies to actually drive the country forward to give people decent standard of living and way of life and the Australian values. That's most important to me. When the governments, whether it be the Labor government or the opposition, the coalition government, haven't delivered this, people are now worse off than what they were years ago. So what do? You say, okay, I'm now saying I've got more to offer the Australian people. Will I ever be Prime Minister? No.
So is that because I've been trying to work this out. For you to be Prime Minister, you'd have to have a majority in the House of Representatives.
I have to move from the Senate. I'd have to move from the lower house seat. I'd have to win that seat. I have to get the majority. And I'm being honest. My age is a problem. Right? So I'm being realistic about it. But I think in future, One Nation has that opportunity to do it.
But you could hold the balance of power. Is that what you're shooting for?
Oh, most definitely. We can. But it also means that we could be the opposition.
Yeah, you could have more numbers than the Liberals.
Correct.
Yeah. Would you form a coalition with the Nationals, with the Liberals? Would you,
Joanna, I'm not going to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
I think that's, it'd be immature of me to actually say that these are only polls taken on a small number of people, and you can't just base your everything on that.
But even just then, when we walked down the street, the guy on the motorbike literally said, "I love you, Pauline, you got my vote." And honestly, comment after comment, orange is the new blue, that is what everybody's saying. I'm in this conservative chat, and people who never saw One Nation as the answer, they believed in the future of the Liberal Party, they've actually become members of your party.
Because they're not listening to the people, grassroots Australians, and that's what they want. They feel forgotten. It's all about these politicians, what they have to do to maintain their jobs. But at times, you really need to say, okay, I might lose the vote out there. Why do we become politicians? Is to be a voice for the people. If you can't be upfront and honest with yourself, what you truly believe in, and you've got to pass legislation, you know in your heart it's not the best for the country or the people, then you have to stick with your conviction and don't vote for it or vote for it.
So what do you think was going through some of those Liberals' minds when they voted for this legislation? Like, I don't understand what Andrew Hastie was thinking. He's put something out on social media saying that if the Liberals hadn't done the deal, the Greens would have with Labor and it would have been far worse. So the Liberals saved the country. But what's your take on that?
I don't believe that. You know, sometimes you have to stand your ground. It's overreached. So now you're giving the power to the minister, and what he's saying, he can nominate or say who's a hate group. So if you've got someone, all right, say there's a radical that joined my party and they joined online, and I don't know that. Now, that person can be up for hate speech. That means that impacts my party, my membership. They can call me a hate party. So therefore, you know, I'm going to be targeted. I didn't know who this person is, the background. You can't check all your members. No political party does. So basically, he's got control of that. Another thing too is these laws have encaptured the state laws. So whatever the hate speech laws are in the state, that comes under the federal, and every state is different. So people do want to rein in these hate preachers and the hate speech that we have out there by all means. But I think there's unintentional consequences that's going to happen with this, because you're now going to rein in people what they say. Say if I put out, I wanted to say, well, I want to stop migration from a certain country because I don't think those people are compatible. You know, I could be taken for hate speech with that.
Absolutely. Your comments, I said this on Sky today, your first comments about we're being swamped by Asians, immigrants need to assimilate. Now, a reasonable person amongst the Asian community might feel fear because you know that's the test, right?
And I can, because so it's retrospective. It's retrospective.
I know, and so that retrospective, like that. I'm a professor of law. I don't know if you know that, but it goes against the rule of law, the principles that you know. If you're driving down a road and you think the speed limit's 50, and then they say, oh no, we've changed it to 40, and it applies retrospectively, and everyone who drove it at 50, you're now, you know, you've got a fine. That's essentially what they're doing with this law, and it feels to me that it's not targeted at the hate preachers, it's possibly targeted at Pauline Hanson.
Well, it's not just Pauline Hanson, okay, it's any Australian, okay? So they could go through your social media, what you've said in the past, everything that you may have, you know, you might be overheard having a conversation with someone. That can be reported and you'll be up on hate speech. So I think it's too broad. It concerned me greatly, and that's why I wasn't going to support it. As I said, these laws were rushed. It wasn't the original bill that they had an inquiry about, that 7,000 people put in submissions for it. That was actually basically thrown into the bin. They brought in another new bill on at 10 a.m. We got it on Tuesday morning to vote on it that afternoon. How can you get your head across that?
What self-respecting politician votes for that? They're clearly not voting according to their conscience. They're just voting according to what their party members told them to do.
So what they said was the Greens said, we're not going to support this bill. So the whole fact is, oh, well, we'll go along with a bad bill just so they don't do a deal with the Greens. You know, you have to show them up. You should not have voted for it. You know it's not right. You couldn't get your amendments up. It was just tinkering around the edges with the Liberal Party. And that's why the Nats were strong and they say, we can't support this. They are conviction politicians, and I've got to say, I take my hat off to them and congratulate them that they stood their ground. And to just say, oh, because we're concerned about the deals might have done with the Greens party. They do this on every other bit of legislation, so why is this one any different?
I agree. And will one nation commit to repealing these laws the first chance they get?
Of course we will. That's what I've said. I'm not against introducing laws that we really will target anti-Semitism and the hate speech that's going on in this country, by all means. You know, people should be able to live in peace and harmony, but you cannot take away a person's right to have an opinion. I shouldn't have my right taken away if I want to question immigration and multiculturalism or what's happened to our country, the number of foreign students we have coming here, which is impacting on our housing. I have a right to say that. You know, so even Albanese now, when he's now targeting some countries about the students coming into this country, he could now be under his own hate speech laws if that was actually challenged.
Yeah. So I don't think there should be hate speech laws at all. I think there should be laws that prevent speech that incites violence. We already have those laws.
Correct. We already have it. They could have done something about it, and they haven't.
And we shouldn't have laws regulating the speech of people like you and I, because that's Judeo-Christian foundations. That is the foundation of Western democracy. Robust debate is how we get to the truth. It's not through zipping your mouth shut because you're perhaps inspiring hate. Hate's an emotion. We shouldn't be regulating it. I really feel that we have to be very strong around this issue. So Chris Minns, I don't know if you've seen it, he said it a few times since Bondi that if it's a toss-up between multiculturalism and free speech, he picks multiculturalism. He's bragging about the fact that we're not America. We don't have a constitutional right to free speech because he says, you know, here we've got a melting pot, lots of different cultures, and therefore some things need to go if you're going to let the cultures all coexist together. What would you say to that?
The cultures have been coexisting together by all means, and until you treat everyone equal in the same on the same level, and just because a person's cultural background or I was reading here, okay, this criminal, he's committed crimes. He was his whole case was overturned, released from jail because the judge showed too much compassion for the victims and not enough on his history, family history.
Yep.
That's got nothing to do with it. He's committed crimes. Deal with the issue.
Yep.
Why are we dealing with people because of their cultural background and letting them out of prisons or jails because of what their cultural background is? That's wrong.
Well, that's wrong. That's not equality, is it? That's identity politics.
Of course it's not.
And I think Australians have a right to feel safe. You know, these machete attacks in Victoria, it's clear that there's something going wrong in the way that we're doing this. I mean, what's your view on multiculturalism? Do you think it's a flawed concept?
It has been. I've said it right from the beginning. At the end of the day, people come here for a new way of life to this country. They come here to be Australian. And that's where the first wave of migrants, especially after the war, they copped it from the Australian people, you know, what I understand. But then they actually worked hard, learned the language. They actually, prospered from the country and starting up businesses or working farms and all the rest of it. And then we've got waves since that come in the 80s and 90s, and what's happening is it's like we've got people coming here because they can get on the NDIS, they know the welfare system, they're not prepared to assimilate, they have, they've got hatred for our culture, way of life, they have no intentions of assimilating into our country. They just want to use it for what we can, what they can get out of it, and then they use our laws
I agree. I don't think we should be changing Australia to bend over backwards to accommodate people who are so antithetical to our values.
They chose to come here, Joanna, right? That's their choice.
Yeah.
I don't have to change my way of life, my culture, my country and all the rest of it. You welcome these people, but you said, like anyone who comes in your home, you think you're going to allow them to come in your home and steal from you and trash your home and abuse you in your own home? What would you do? You'd tell them to get out.
No,
Why is your country any different?
Yeah, and something Jordan Peterson has said is, if we don't have a strong fence around our country, we start erecting fences within. So, bollards at Pitt Street Mall to stop a terrorist attack. Chris Minns has said maybe we should get rid of the bridge in Bondi, this historic bridge, because, maybe some crazy people are going to do this again. He's talking about Muslims, and these laws on speech and guns. We're erecting all of these fences to protect Australia because we haven't got a proper fence around the country. So we really need to rethink immigration, don't we? We need to think about...
I have been speaking about that for decades now, and who we bring into the country. We don't do a tough enough test on people. They can't become citizens for at least 10 years in the country. I want to know who they are, who we're bringing into the country, and I'm fed up with these students that come in here and they've actually sign up for the courses, then they drop out in the first year, then they actually go on to a bridging visa so they can actually work while they're here. That's all they're here for, to be able to work, because they're saying they're applying for a vet
course.
I
know, Pauline. So we have a massive problem with temporary visas, don't we?
This is government. This is our government that has allowed this to happen. And you've got nearly 400,000 people in this country on bridging visas.
So look, it's a mess. One of the fundamental questions I think we need to ask ourselves is, should Australia have a discriminatory migration policy? I am starting to think that we should, because we have so much immigration coming from countries that are that have different values to us. So Islamic countries where, you know, women are oppressed, they're not democracies, they don't have free speech, Christians are persecuted, Jewish people are persecuted. Should we be having so much immigration from those countries? Because it is going to change Australia. I'm wondering, do we need a discriminatory migration policy?
I'm all for it. I've got no problem with it.
Yeah.
I've named some of these countries we should not be bringing these people in from unless we have a thorough check.
Yeah.
America's done it.
Yeah.
Other countries done it.
Yeah.
You know, even some of these Middle Eastern countries, they won't have people of their own cultural or their own religious background into their countries. Why?
Yeah. So tell me about wearing the burqa again, but bringing that into the parliament. People have criticised you for it being a stunt, but in my view, I felt like you've got to force a conversation. It's not like the mainstream media will allow this conversation. You doing that forced a conversation. Was that your goal?
You're open-minded, and that's great to see. Not like these other ones out there, because I might wear a burqa in the parliament. I'll ask these people then, if you want something that's important to you, you want to put up a private member's bill. As a member of parliament, I have that right to do it. So I go in there to do it. This is procedure. I introduce my bill. Before I actually got through introducing my bill, I'm denied. All right? It doesn't normally happen. This is about the second or third time it's happened to me. So they treat me different to everyone else. And that was about banning the burqa and full face coverings in public places, right? So I thought, well, if you don't want to ban the burqa, I'll wear the burqa. So I went upstairs to my office, dragged it out my cupboard. It's been in there for 8 years. And I actually put it on. My staff didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I went back down to the chamber. And well, that caused them more distress because I actually put it on. So you don't want to ban it, but you don't like me wearing it. So what a bunch of hypocrites.
They are. I'm going to say you did look pretty hot in the burqa. There was style.
Right, okay. Yes, Joanna.
There were all these memes popping up on socials. People had AI imagery of you just whipping it off. It was exciting. So you got banned from the parliament for 7 sitting days. Now, you know that I've been banned apparently permanently. There's no deadline on it from the South Australian Upper House. It's just crazy to me how authoritarian the two major parties are.
Well, they did ban me 7 sitting days, so I've still got another 2 left. So the first 2 sitting days in February, I still can't attend the chamber. I did write to Anthony Albanese to actually overturn the ban, considering for the condolence speeches and these 2 very important laws that were being passed, and he just wasn't interested.
Did he reply?
He said it's up to the Senate. Well,
Shocking.
he controls the Senate. It's his party. So if he wanted to tell the Leader House, Penny Wong, to actually then overturn it, it could have happened.
Did you hear this week when he was asked about your rise in the polls, he said, I prefer the Liberals?
You know, too right he did, because, you know,
Pauline Hanson's more scary.
He knows, you're correct, because he'd have a tougher road with me. He knows damn well that I just don't roll over like these other ones
like
do.
They did this week. It's pathetic. Yeah. Look, I wanted to ask you about something, because the last time we did an interview, I did get a lot of comments, probably from trolls. I had overwhelmingly supportive comments, but I had the troll comments of, you know, Pauline, why are you sitting down with Pauline Hanson? She wouldn't even like you because of the colour of your skin. What do you make of that? People calling you racist. I know it's not true, but I just sort of feel like how do we show people that's not what this is about, you know?
You know, they're the ones with the problem, not me. If they had that mindset and that's the way they think, well, you know, what am I going to say or do whatsoever? They're so closed-minded about things to actually have a look at it and what I stand for. Have you gone and listened to my speeches? Have you really come to meet and understand me? Do you know who my candidates have been? You know, how proud I am of Australia. You know, it's just... I can't be bothered with these people.
It's not about race, it's about culture, isn't it? It's about that not all cultures are equal, and in the sense that there's some really terrible cultural practices.
We are a multiracial country, but at the end of the day, we must be Australians.
Exactly. That should be our founding principle. We're Australian.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about sex-selective abortion, because I'm not sure if you're aware of how common it is. In India, where I'm from, there'll be 6 million fewer girls by 2030 because of sex-selective abortion. Oh, wow. We know that there's 100 million girls missing worldwide. And, you know, just recently we had a movie night at Blacktown showing the movie, a documentary, It's a Girl. And at the end of that, I got up and I told everyone, this was shocking looking at it in India and China, but we know without doubt that it's happening in Australia, in New South Wales. An Edith Cowan study of 2.1 million births showed that in Chinese and Indian families, when they get to the third child, if they'd had 2 girls already, the ratio is 135 boys are born to 100 girls. So for that third child, they're just aborting girls en masse because they've already got girls. So what do you make of that?
That's our laws that have allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
You know, these abortions, late abortions and that type of thing, it's a real shame. Look, I had 4 children, all right? My first 3 were boys. I never found out what the sex of my children were. Back then we didn't. It wasn't a thing. Nowadays everyone wants to know what the child they're going to have. And I said, don't. It's a lovely surprise to know you're on the table. Tell me, what is it, a girl or boy? And the excitement is then. But anyway, I tell you what, I was disappointed when I had my 3rd boy.
3 boys in a row?
Yes, I was. I can be honest.
Yeah.
But I was. But it didn't stop me from having another one to try for that girl. I always wanted my daughter. And the 4th one was my daughter. Well, I was so excited. You imagine if I actually had that scan. It told me I was going to have my 3rd boy. And I thought, oh, God, no. Oh, no. So, but I didn't know. But once you actually have your baby, you know, and the baby's in your arms, it doesn't matter whether it's girl or boy. It's your child.
Yeah.
You love them.
Yeah.
So I was more excited when I had my daughter.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going back, I'm going to have another one. I wanted another one, but it didn't happen.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, the thing is, I think if there's abhorrent cultural practices in other countries, so in India and China, there's a view that girls are lesser than, so they're aborted in the womb. Some are just left to die after they're born, you know, down by the river. It's horrific.
Yeah.
But these people have now come to Australia. We actually should have a ban on sex-selective abortion because we should say that in this country...
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
That's been my argument.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And it shouldn't be allowed for late abortions as they are doing them.
Yeah.
Joanna, it's quite, you know. Anyway,
So
if even my mother, if we had that there, I was the 4th girl in a row, right? 1 boy and then 4 girls. So who knows? I may not have been here.
Are you the youngest?
Youngest girl, no,
Youngest
I've got
girl.
another 2 brothers.
Okay.
I'm 5th.
Yeah. So
out of
sex-selective abortion may have meant Pauline wasn't here if that was in our culture, but it's not, thank God, because,
No,
you know,
it's
it's
not.
just...
We didn't know.
Yeah.
So, you know, people really need to think about this. Where do you come in line in your own family, that type of thing? Do you support this thing? If you support this and you'd go and do it yourself, you know, maybe think to yourself, if that was around with your parents, would you be here?
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about the fact that in Queensland, it's the abortion capital of the country. I don't know if you know that it's the highest number of babies killed per capita than in any other state.
No, I didn't know
And
that.
late-term abortion, Stephen Miles in 2018, when they were introducing abortion up to birth, he said late-term abortions won't increase, but they actually doubled in 3 years, and babies survive their abortion in Queensland and they're left to die.
But this is mainly Labor policy.
Yeah, it is. It is Labor policy.
Right?
And it's something that's happening behind closed doors, but there's a midwife who reached out to me, and I am going to show you this photo. I haven't publicly released it yet, but this is a little baby boy at 16 weeks who survived his abortion, and he was born and he's just sucking his thumb. And that just happened in a Queensland hospital recently. What do you think when you look at a photo like that? Just a baby that survives their abortion, but they have no legal right to care, palliative care. Yeah. This baby wasn't going to survive because he was 16 weeks, but no one to pick him up, put a blanket around him, no morphine on the lips.
That's what I heard. They're not allowed to touch him, have anything to do with them, the poor child.
Yeah.
I think it's inhumane what they're doing for it. And the nurses, what I hear is they're stricken by this. You know, they're really upset what they see and that they can't do it.
Yeah.
So we've just got to change the laws.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? As I said to you before, if these children are unwanted, if they're born alive, right, instead of just leaving them untouched, then we have a right to care for that child. If that child survives, you adopt that child out to a family.
Yeah.
And that mother who delivered that baby has no right to know where that child's gone.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, you wanted that child dead, you have no right to that child, and it should be adopted out.
Absolutely. So we do need federal birth equality laws to just give any newborn that survives the abortion the right to care after they're birth, life-saving treatment or palliative care, whatever's appropriate.
Because under the Constitution, if you've got a federal law and it's and state law as well, the federal law will override the state law.
Yeah. So you and I are both people pushing against the orthodoxy, but increasingly I think you're breaking through, and I'm hoping that in what I'm doing on this issue of the human rights of babies in the womb, I'm hoping that I'm starting to break through as well. Last year we had 100 million views on socials. For me, that was a huge thing to see. I guess in one of the reasons I fought the hate speech laws so passionately is because for the first time I really thought, well, these could be the laws that get me in jail. Right now they're limited to race, but the Greens have said very clearly they want it to be extended to sexuality and gender. And because of my views on abortion, I'm anti-woman. Because I don't believe boys should be in girls' sports. We have a daughter that wants to be an Olympian. I don't want her to be competing against biological males. I know you feel very strongly about that too.
Yeah.
And so I guess I feel like for the first time these laws could mean jail is a very real possibility. Do you feel worried about that? You've been to jail. What would your advice be to ordinary Australians like me who feel nervous about this now?
Sorry, you can't back down. The same as me. I can't back down from what I believe in. Just because some laws have been in place, you have to inform the Australian public and you have to get the support from the people out there why they should support you. Because united, we can actually make a difference. But if you don't stand up with someone and back them, and then don't sit back and whinge about it when it may come knocking on your door one day and you're affected by it. If you really believe in freedom of speech and having an opinion in this country, because I tell you what, millions of other people around the world would dearly love to have their freedom of speech. It's been taken away from them by these, autocratic countries that feel that they are the elites, they can tell you what to do. And it's happening here in Australia. So I've just got to say, sorry, you've got to keep pushing on because you are cutting through. People are looking for champions to be their voice for them because a lot of people out there would dearly love to, but they don't know how to go about it. So I've put myself in this position to be a member of Parliament, to be that voice there. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to have that voice on the floor of Parliament. You're doing it, through your means of informing people. And I congratulate you for doing that.
Thank you. I know we actually have disagreements on abortion, but I love that we can sit down and talk it through, talk about what we do agree with. I just think that is actually what it should be. We shouldn't be restricting speech. We should be having these kind of debates.
Totally agree. I've got no problem with that.
Does it get to you? When just your career, the fact that, you've gone from like zero to hero. I feel like it should be hero to zero, but you've gone the other way around, zero to hero.
I don't worry. I've had my few bumps along the way. Don't you worry about that.
How does it feel? Because I know for me, like my hairdresser said, I've got way more greys because since I've started doing this work. I mean, your hair's a pretty good colour.
Yeah, it doesn't change, right? So anyway.
But how does it feel to be you? Like how do you cope with all of the things that they say about you? And
I couldn't care less, Joanna.
Really? So you are thick-skinned? You don't.
I must be. I must be. I don't care.
Do you shed a tear about it all? Like, what about the very beginning when did they expel you from the Liberal Party?
Yes. Do I shed a tear? No. I could. Who are these people to me? They don't know who I am. They don't put food on my table. They don't put a roof over my head. They don't care about my health. And why the hell would I listen to them anyway? Who wants to ridicule me, have a go at me? I couldn't care. Get that? I couldn't care less. So what I'm saying is, it's the people that care about you, the people that, I value their opinions, people that I have respect for, that's the people that I listen to. I can take criticism and I'm my worst critic in a lot of ways. I look at myself and I think, okay, you've done this wrong, you could have done it better, whatever. But I'm not going to allow these people, these trolls who might occasionally come on my page, at some of the comments, I just have a laugh at. I thought, you have no idea, mate. You have no idea at all. And I'm probably fighting for your freedom of speech, your way of life, and I'm trying to improve your family, future generations, whatever, or the family that you have now, improve their lot in life. And you have no idea. You're so pathetic.
Yeah. I saw those. I saw you call Susan Lee a loser this week. We've got a poll on my Instagram. Do you agree with Pauline? It's 99% in favour of your assessment of her.
But she's not a leader, right? She doesn't make me feel confident in her decisions, you know what I mean? And she told us last year she'll be coming out with her immigration policy. Where is it? She's frightened to do that. What was her policy on net zero? Well, look, we'll get rid of net zero here, but we're going to keep the Paris Agreement. So it's hedging her bet both ways.
One of the problems with anyone who suggests changes on migration policy, because Claire O'Neill appointed me to be one of the reviewers of the migration program. And what I noticed is the lobbying from the universities and the business lobby, tech, they want their immigrants because that's their labour, you know, I can't see a Liberal government pushing back on that.
Of course they won't.
Labor's in bed with more immigration. These people, I agreed with Jacinta that these immigrants tend to vote Labor. You know, like I think that was actually a thing that she said that was true, and that's why Labor loves immigration.
It's always been. Barry Jones admitted in 1997 at the Population Forum, and he's the former Labor president, that we brought people in from China, and just thinking where that other country was.
Would it
China,
have been India?
Wasn't so much India at that time, purely for the vote, right? They knew there would be social incohesion, but they didn't care. So purely for the vote. So what she was saying was spot on, and but no one defended her, and she didn't know the history behind it. Labor is known for this.
I grew up as a Labor voter. I think as we were immigrants, and I think in my family that's just what we did. But look, I haven't voted for them in recent memory, and I feel they're destroying the country. You know, I feel like the Greens and Labor are destroying the country, and the Liberals aren't stopping them. You know, so you're really the only hope that we have. I wanted to ask you. We'll bring this to a close, but I wanted to ask you: does anyone own you? You know, there's all these rumours circulating online that, you know, Gina or this person or that person's pulling your strings.
Who owns you? I've had that for 30 years, for crying out loud. So it's a way to pull me down crabs. If you know me, you can ask my staff and that type of thing who've been with me for 10 years or more. No one owns me, right? I'm my own person, my own convictions, and I work closely with people, my other members of Parliament by all means. But I tell you what, if I don't agree with something, I'll stand my ground. No one will. And I know that's what they're saying about Gina. Gina to me, she's a great Australian. Okay, she employs most people of any company. She pays the highest taxes in this country. She pays her royalties. She gives back to the Olympians, to schools, to education, to the farming sector. She does so much for this country, more so than some of these other, people that are billionaires. And she loves Australia. She's very patriotic. And because she sees in me a person that can actually turn around and save this country. So, yes, she is, get in her own way, supporting me as much as she possibly can. And I welcome that because I had no one, especially when I came back to run the party in 2015. And it was nothing. It was a defunct party. There was nothing there. And I actually had to back myself financially to get it up and running, to pay the staff, to hire an office and all the rest of it. And, I put the hard yards in it. And people behind closed doors said, oh, yeah, I support One Nation, couldn't go say it publicly. And now people have changed their tune, their attitude. Yes, I am a One Nation supporter. Like you saw the fellow on the road, love your policies. I'm getting that all the time. So when people of her position comes out and is making it known, I appreciate that. It's like the guy on the street or whoever I meet at the airport or the person who sits beside me on a plane, they show me that support. Doesn't matter who they are. Thank you for this support. Is her support toward me any different to anyone else that I meet in the street or at the airport? What's the difference? I feel like it's a bit of a trope that they say,
Gina owns, Pauline? Because the major parties have all of their massive
the major
donors,
parties
don't
are
they?
owned by the bloody unions, aren't they?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Labor's owned by the unions,
Yeah.
and then they're owned by the banks and everything like that.
Yeah.
All my decisions that I've made on the floor of Parliament, I've been speaking about the mining industry. We need to preserve and look after the money it brings into the country, the jobs it creates, everything that's happened.
Yeah.
I've said this for years now. Long before Gina Reinhardt came on as wanting to support One Nation.
And I wanted to put it to you so you could tell that story, because I think it's important for people to hear that. Having met you, having watched you, having grown up, seeing you, you know, I know no one owns you, because you just say what you think. And you do what you think, and even and you don't say what you think I want to hear or what other people want to hear. You just so I feel like it's important for people to realise that that is the case with you.
And if anyone puts it to me, policy or something like that, I'll challenge that. I will question it and I will, debate them on that, and I want to know the answers. Like, she's come to me with some great suggestions, like many Australians have. I get letters coming to my office all the time and policy suggestions through my branch and everything like that. You have to listen to everyone, and then you have to toss it up and you come to the decision what's the best. But Joanna, I can assure people out there, at the end of the day, any legislation that's put on the floor of Parliament, I look at what's right for the country and the people. And I try and have a vision for the future generations. It's not just up till the next election, and that's what our Parliament lacks, is vision for the future. So you may not like everything that I say, but anyway, if you don't like it, then I suggest get out there and stand for Parliament yourself, and then you can have your say, and we'll see how many people are pulling your strings.
Yeah, I understand, because we did it. We had a bill last year to ban late-term abortion in South Australia. I helped draft it, and after it happened, we lost by 2 votes, tragically. And Labor then immediately turned on me. They announced a review into whether I was creating illicit gambling, because we had a fun game about what words they would say in the part. Like, it was insane, the things that they did. They also introduced a lobbying review, because they said I was being funded by all of these rich lobbyists from the US, and so they're going to ban foreign donations. And the thing is, I don't think I've received a single dollar from anyone overseas.
They've tried to do the same with me, in the past. I'm not going to raise it again now. But they've tried to do exactly the same with us. So they make
all of these things up about you.
I'm just in this for the money. It's only for election funding and all the rest of it. That's a load of bloody rubbish.
You wouldn't be doing this in your 70s if you didn't care about the country.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's about getting more people elected to Parliament to carry on what I started for One Nation, give people a voice. So that's very important to me.
Yeah, I'll finish up. I wanted to ask you about your daughter, because I can see that she's, making waves in Tasmania. Is she the future of One Nation? Did she, when she was growing up, did she see you and think, I wish Mum wasn't so controversial, but now she's come round? Or how's that been? Like, what's that been for you?
Oh, she never thought she'd be getting politics. I've been talking to her now for about 5 or 6, 10 years, whatever. No, it's not for me, Mum. No, thank you very much. I've got my family and my children. And it was only till April last year, 1 month prior to the election, she said, Mum, I'm going to stand. And I thought, oh, thanks, darling. 4 weeks to do a campaign, which she just missed out in that seat. She was not politically minded whatsoever, or she didn't know, the full facts and what's going on. So she said to me, Mum, she said, life's changed so much I'm in fear for my children and what the future of the country is. So she's now working for the party. She works for a senator. She now says, she can see that she can't stop fighting. Now I think she's got more of an understanding what I've been through and what I've been trying to do to achieve. Is she the future of the party? Joanna, I don't know. Like everyone else, I don't believe in nepotism. I believe that people have to earn their stripes. She has proved herself, not only to me, but to the membership and different ones, but that's in time to come. Let her get a foot in the door first and win a seat first.
Yeah, it sounds like her journey is emblematic.
She's excellent.
I think her journey is emblematic, it sounds like, of many Australians who are waking up. So they haven't been political. They've thought, she'll be right, mate. And they're suddenly realising that our country is transforming into something they never thought it could be. And so they're stepping up. And I feel like, like you said, if more people do this, then we can save the country.
Look, I am so proud of her. She's just taken to it like a duck to water. She's getting a lot of, admiration from the public and how she presents herself. She's her own person. She's not, she is Pauline Hanson's daughter, but she is Lee
Yeah.
Hanson.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And she's got a lot to offer.
Yeah. And final question, South Australia's got its election coming up in March.
Yeah.
And I'm a South Australian. What's your hopes for One Nation in that election and for the state?
We're going to, in the big announcement coming up for South Australia in the first week of February, I will not give you any hints. You're not getting exclusive on that. So anyway, it's
I
not
thought we
happening.
were besties.
No, we might be, but it's not going to happen. You still won't get an exclusive out of me. But anyway, it's going to be exciting for South Australia. And all I can say is that with putting up candidates in every seat, we want to get representation on the floor of Parliament in South Australia and start fighting for South Australia. So I hope that people give us their first preference.
And Labor's very complacent in South Australia because the Liberals haven't been a very good opposition. So I hope that you can come in the first week of Feb and stir the pot, Pauline. Maybe you should wear the burqa.
No, the burqa's parked. I put it in the cupboard for a while.
We'll bring it out again sometime, but not for the South Australian election. Thanks so much for your time.
My
it's
pleasure.
wonderful seeing you again, and all the best for you and for One Nation.
And for you. And what you do too, you know?
Thank you.
All right.